This computer. Excellent. Good. Hello, Pamela. Hi there. We're just waiting for a couple of others, and then we'll get going. They're all very enthusiastic today, Pamela.
Good.
They were all here before me.
That's what I like to hear.
I was still sorting the kids out and the dogs and getting my tea.
I've got that mug, Rebecca. Set of 4.
Yes, and there's like a pheasant.
Yes.
Yeah, they're nice.
They're lovely, and they're nice and big as well. They hold a nice lot. But I just love, very country.
Yes, very country.
I don't like big mugs. I really like little cups.
Oh, I sort of have a gallon. I have to have at least 3 gallons of coffee in the morning just to function. I think my body actually couldn't survive without it.
This is my second Zoom today and another one this evening.
Yeah, I've got 3 this afternoon. So after this, I've got a work one. Yeah, I've got to work. I'm running a workshop this afternoon.
Yeah.
And then we got the literary quiz tonight. If anybody wants to join in that.
Yeah, that's the one I'm going to come into this evening.
Yeah. So I've just been doing all the going over the questions. So I've got more this time because we ran out of questions. Like they're too fishy.
Well, we were all too quick and too quiet, weren't we?
Yeah.
The first time we all argued and all wanted to have a word and make comments.
So I've got more questions this time. So
yeah.
Well, I saw one of the headlines in the newspapers this morning. Do people still read books?
Oh, they always saying that, well, Martin.
No.
I think they've said that for centuries.
Yeah.
There's Liz.
I do.
Does Liz is she well enough to do it? Is she doing it then, or?
No, hang on just a sec. Sorry.
I'm just coming for the performance.
Sorry, no, I'm not very well. I just thought it would be nice to come and watch if you don't mind.
Yeah, because Mary's
very to dash off anyway, which is why I haven't got my video on, because I may have to dash off, and I'll just keep my mic off.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Mary, for taking over. Thank you.
Yeah, it was very good of you to do it at short notice.
Very good. Thank you. I just wanted to come and say thank you anyway. So.
Hope you feel better soon, Liz.
Thank you. Yeah. It's diverticulitis, apparently.
Oh, you don't sound good. Poor thing.
No, I'm not. Anyway, thank you, and good luck, everyone.
Yeah. Right. So if we got everyone's there that we need, isn't it? So Doreen, Martin, Benita, Mary, and Terry. Yeah, we actually could get going, couldn't we?
Benita's disappeared.
Do you mind if I turn my video off?
Oh, it's Benita's. Benita's wandered off for a cup of tea, I think.
Yes.
So we'll just wait for her to go. Someone else as well.
Hello, Mary.
Hi, Mary.
Mary, which Mary?
Hello, Mary.
Hello, Martin.
There she is.
Yes.
Mary.
Yeah.
Hi, Mary. Hi, Doreen. Oh, wow. Great. Fantastic.
Right now, Benita's back, so I think we'll. Oh no, someone else. It looks like I'm gonna have to wait for another minute. We've got a few. Oh, Anne Stanton's joining.
Our 40 minutes will be up by the time.
I know. It's Anne as well. She's coming from France. So yeah. Hello, Anne.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
It's quite a party today. This is great. This is really good. Right, I think we should kick off, and then if anyone else joins, they can.
Oh,
Right, what I'm going to ask you all to do for me is to turn off your microphones, and then when it comes to your turn, you can turn your microphone back on, and that way we don't get things like phones going off or teacups glugging away in the background and that sort of thing. So you're all able to do that and just turn.
Put it on mute.
Yeah, exactly. Brilliant. That's great. Can you do it, Benita?
Oh.
Yeah. Do you know how to do it? I can do it for you if you want. There you go. Right. I think we're all done. Just give me a thumbs up. You can still hear me. You can all hear me. Great. Right. So thank you so much for coming today, and it's great to welcome you to the to our first drama Zoom. So this is a bit of an experiment. So I'm Rebecca Harding, and I'm the chair of the Society of Women Writers and Journalists. So I'm really thrilled that Doreen's organised this for us. She's put a lot of work in, and it's brilliant that you've all come along and supported it. So thank you so much. So as you know, I'm recording this, so we'll put it on YouTube later and on our website. And what I'm hoping is that when people see it, that next time we're going to try and run another one, and we've got a date fixed in September, that we'll get more people along because they'll have watched it on our bulletin and so on, and they'll come and join in. So today we're going to be listening to 4 monologues written, performed by the talented and wonderful members of the SWWJ and the Actors Writers London. And as I said, if you're not speaking, just keep your microphone turned off. And what I'm thinking we'll do is perhaps stop at the end of each and have a bit of constructive feedback and a chat, if that sounds like a good idea to everyone. And just talk about how the pieces have made them feel. So the first piece is Essex Boy, written and read by Martin Cort. Now, Martin Cort is our SWWJ drama coordinator. He's a professional actor and director, and he's appeared in numerous stage and TV film productions, including the TV miniseries Throne of Shadows, Ozone, and Doctor Who. So we're very happy to have him as our drama coordinator. We're very lucky. So, Martin, do you want to kick off? Martin? Martin's gone. There he is.
No, I haven't got. Oh, hello. Yes.
Right, I'm going to mute myself now because
Right.
so I don't.
Well, I was born in Chelmsford, the county town of Essex. At the time, it's called a market town. Being in the country, it was supposed to be safe from bombs and air raids, that sort of thing. But there were several important companies there, like Marconi's and Hoffman's. And of course, there was the American Air Base at Borum. All of them got individual attention from Adolf Hitler. And when the time came, the A12 was one of the roads used by our invasion forces. The build-up to the invasion was wonderful. As the soldiers went through our town, we hadn't much to offer them to wish them luck on their way, but mugs of tea and very thin sandwiches, what they grabbed as they passed. As well as the troop carriers and tanks on the road and on the ground, above us was hundreds of aeroplanes, some of them pulling gliders. And they all had those white painted stripes on their wings and fuselages. There was hundreds of them. They looked like giant birds flocking in the sky. They didn't seem to be hurrying to war. No, they just floated along with the hum of their engines. When the end of the war came, no one told me. Well, I was Leonard Young, a nearly 7-year-old schoolboy. I remember it being a hot day. My 2-year-old brother Sidney and me was put to bed early. We hadn't done nothing wrong. I realised that the normal sounds of the house wasn't happening. So I couldn't sleep. I got out of bed and I tiptoed up to my mum and dad's bedroom, what was at the front of the house. And I looked through the window, which was slightly ajar. From there, I could see the whole of Waite Road, right down to the pub at the corner of the 3 shops, and up to the top where there was the big wooden fence and a big wooden gate across the top. And, well, that was where they hid the anti-aircraft gun. Pushing back the net curtains a bit, I could see what was going on in the whole road. What I saw astounded me. Sometime earlier, the government had took our ornamental iron gates and railings away to help with the war effort. And they put small concrete top walls there in front of each house. On our wall sat my mum Dad, and Dolly, an Irish factory worker, what we had staying with us. They was all eating fish and a penny for chips from newspaper. I could see looking up the road, all of my family what lived there and their neighbours were sitting on their walls doing the same. I knelt down to get a better look, and my eyes fixed on my dad, who finished his fish, and then he screwed up his newspaper and threw it in the gutter. Then he set fire to it. Even more surprising to my eyes was, he began dancing around it like the Red Indians, except of course Red Indians. As the newspaper burned, our neighbours sitting on their walls threw their papers on. And then the fire grew so fast and furious, they had to move it to the centre of the road. And although we normally collected paper and bottles for the war effort, some people began going in their houses and bringing out their saved up paper and cardboard to put on the fire. Well, this was too much excitement for me, and my dad let me come and sit on the wall with the others. The fire was getting bigger and bigger, just like a big bonfire. And our neighbours still kept on throwing paper on. Then someone went to the pub and brought some beer back for the men. Some of the GIs, that's what we used to call the Americans, they come out of the pub, and seeing our bonfire was a signal for them to join in the celebrations. I don't know what happened, but my grandma got ever so excited and unlocked her precious front room, what was only used for Christmas, funerals and weddings. And 4 or 5 of the Americans went into the room, and they pulled out a gleaming piano onto the front doorstep. Well, the piano stool, what was crammed with hundreds of sheets of music, was carried out as well. In a few minutes, music sprang out, filling the whole road. People sang and danced on the pavements. It's you we send, it's you ain't my baby. And, oh Johnny, oh Johnny, oh Johnny, oh. And keep the home fires burning. And more beer magically appeared and flowed freely. I don't remember the pub closing that night. Everyone was happy and laughing. One lot of men went really mad. At the top of our road, we had a fully equipped red painted fire cart to help deal with the fires in the bombing. I remember what was on it. There was red painted buckets full of sand, spades, axes and a stirrup pump. They ran that cart like a chariot race, all down the road, cheering and shouting and straight into the fire. Well, after that, I expect I fell asleep. I don't remember the end of the celebration, but the words of the song stuck in my head. Oh, Mr. Port, what shall I do? I want to go to Birmingham, I'm on my way to Crewe. Any evening, any day, when you're down old Lambeth Way, you'll see us all doing the Lambeth Walk. Oi! Oh, and of course, there be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover. Till I fell asleep. The next day, the only proof that anything had happened at all was a rather large hole in the middle of the road. Oh, and of course, a missing red fire cart.
Right, yeah, unmute yourselves. Yeah, that was great. That was really good. If you want to turn your microphones back on, everyone. Mary, Anne and Anne. Yeah.
It made a funny buzzing noise here.
Yeah, there was a tiny bit in the middle. That was really good. And I noticed that Mary was singing along with you actually at one point. So...
We were as much joined in. Can I say something to Martin?
Yes, go for it. Yeah.
Martin, I assume that you are actually from Chelmsford, is that right? You there?
Yes, I have to say.
Martin, I assume you're from Chelmsford, are you?
I am, yes.
My father-in-law was very important in Marconi. His name is Eric Payne, and he was on the yacht with Marconi when Marconi was doing all his trials.
My grandfather worked for Marconi at the time, and I don't know what he was doing, but I have a pair of candlesticks that he made in his spare time.
Oh, really? How lovely. But,
I worked at Hoffman's myself.
Sorry?
I worked at Hoffman's.
Oh, right. Yes. Well, father-in-law was actually was with Marconi during all his on the Electra, the yacht Electra, and when they were doing all the trials all over the world.
People don't realise, in fact, well, it was strangely enough mentioned on a programme yesterday, but people often don't realise that he did his experiments actually in Rickle up the road in a hut.
Yeah, it's fascinating to talk to. We must gather all his memories, and write them down, because he's been interviewed. He was interviewed on the radio a lot at various Marconi anniversaries.
It was the media, wasn't it? Radio.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just wondered, has anybody got any feedback they'd like to give Martin? Any other comments people would like to make?
I would. Yeah.
Yeah,
Martin,
go on, Mary.
I love that. And I felt that I was there in the road with you.
Yes.
See every single thing happening. You, the little boy, and sitting on the wall, and the smoke, and the Americans. I could see the whole thing. Brilliant.
Thank you. Great. It is part of my biography.
Yeah, I know.
But it's, I mean, I've altered it slightly for the broadcast, because there were lots of other things that happened, around that time. There's a very silly thing I mentioned to Terry earlier, which is that, I think, no, with someone else. When they took the mugs of tea from us, of course, the convoy moved on and up the road. So it was one of my jobs to run up the road and pick up the mugs and bring them back again to be refilled.
Yeah, I still have to do that at home. Oh, that was great, Martin. Yes, Julie, isn't it? Yeah. Do you want to turn your
Julie,
I'm trying to unmute her. So
unmute yourself, Mary. Julie, there's a little microphone.
Yeah, it's still, we still can't hear you, Julie.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. I love the acting and the piece, and the fact the British flag was at the back. The effort of putting the flags at the back.
Yes.
Very British, very English.
That was the idea.
Oh, no, it looked
Are they there permanently?
Well, you see, a lot of people just read. They think that this is just to read directly to camera. and you can make it more interesting if you do something with it. The AWL ones are getting quite vegetal at the moment with a lot of their backgrounds, and you can do something with it. It doesn't just all the time have to be speaking to camera.
Yeah. Good. Has anyone else got anything else they want to add, or shall we move on to the next one? That was brilliant. Thank you so much, Martin. I think we should give him a round of applause, actually. So well done. Well done. That was great. So, right, now we move on to Susie's Sexy Shoes, which is read by Mary Drake, who stood in for us at the last minute, which was very, very kind of her, and written by Doreen Friend. So Mary Drake is an actress, and she's known for Dorcha, Eastenders, and A Throne of Shadows. So we're very fortunate to have her today. So I'm going to, if I can ask everyone to turn the microphones off and hand over to Mary.
Thank you. The first time I saw her, she was wearing a white blouse, black trouser suit, and her jet black hair was parted at the centre. I gave her my name, sat in the waiting area, and glanced at the health-related posters on the walls and the out-of-date magazines on the coffee table. I didn't give the woman much thought until she walked out from behind the desk. She was tall and slim, as narrow as a pencil, and she wore a pair of patent leather, 3-inch high heel shoes in black. The following week, she wore the same outfit, obviously a uniform. She left her workstation, entered the waiting area, and began replacing the outdated posters and magazines. That's when I saw them. Kingfisher blue, 3-inch high heel leather shoes with diamonds on the toes. On week 3, I found myself drooling in envy of the black leather strappy wedge sandals. They were at least 3 inches high, if not higher. As Susie walked towards the door, she saw me watching her, so I quickly turned away. Checking out her shoes provided interest to my otherwise mundane Thursday mornings. I longed to be able to wear heels like that, but my damaged feet would never cope with them. I sat waiting for my appointment, trying to act nonchalant, whilst wriggling around on the chair in hope of getting a glimpse of the day's footwear. Susie sat at the desk, busy working on her computer. With less than 5 minutes to go before my treatment, I was desperate to get a peep at the peep toes, glance at the wonderful wedges, swoon over the slingbacks or whatever fabulous footwear she decided to wear. I needed to get her out from under the desk, but I had no idea how I could manage it. Maybe if I asked her about one of the posters on the back wall, or requested one of the leaflets from the pile. I could pretend to get lost, or accidentally walk into another part of the building looking for a non-existent friend. That might work. She might have to come to get me and escort me back to the waiting area. Oh, time for my treatment. While Dr. Blake worked on my legs, I worked out a series of questions such as, what departments are upstairs? Who designed the building? And then with any luck, she might show me around, allowing me to check out the shoes of the day. Success! As she showed me to the nearest recycling point, I had a good look at the shoes. The best ever! Bright red patent leather, with heels as high as the sky and diamantes snaking from the cutaway toe to the back of the heel. Looking at them made my feet tingle and my mouth water. Susie caught me staring at her feet. Sorry, I couldn't help noticing your shoes. They are very nice. Love the diamante. She ushered me out of the building, no doubt thinking what a cheeky cow I was, discussing her shoes as if we were the best of friends. She'd caught me staring at her feet once before, but this time my eyes roamed slowly up and down her body and lingered on her ankles and legs. Her shocked expression made it obvious that she'd noticed the lust in my eyes. I would love to wear shoes with tremendous high heels, shiny red leather, feminine and sexy. I needed to wear orthopedic shoes and would happily settle for a pair with heels just 1 inch high in red. The next time I saw the physiotherapist, I asked him what the chances were. Dr. Blake said, "Your ankles are not really strong enough to take the strain of high heels, and your toes need a lot of work. Wearing fashion heels would be fine at a dinner party or the cinema, where you will sit and manage to put up with the discomfort. But it is important that you do the exercises regularly, and definitely no dancing." 3 weeks later, Susie was back to the black patent heels, followed by transparent plastic peep toes with bright green heels, 3 inches of course, and orange flowers painted on the straps. Next time, the shoes were black suede with satin bows, embossed with a few sequins, tastefully arranged in the centre of the bow. How many pairs of shoes does this woman own? When shopping for a gift for a friend some weeks later, I gave a passing glance in the shoe shop window. That was my undoing. It was love at first sight. The emotion hit me like a flash. Red, high heels, almost identical to Susie's, and they were for sale at half price. I tried to walk away, but I couldn't. I knew I was being weak and foolish. Inside the shop, I was immediately surrounded by shelves of lovely, lovely shoes of the sort I could only dream of wearing. As the sales assistant looked down at my feet, I saw the disgust in her face. I doubt she'd ever seen such old-fashioned footwear outside of a museum. Let her sneer. I wanted those bright red beauties. Yes, the assistant said they had the size I needed. 1 size larger than normal, to accommodate every bump, bandage and bulge. I lied as I paid for them, pretending they were for a friend. Yes, I would like them boxed and gift wrapped. At home, I put the box on a shelf next to the cupboard and sat opposite it, just looking. I wanted to grab the box and tear it open, but I calmed myself down, picked it up and put it into the cupboard, hidden away until the weekend, out of sight, out of temptation. Saturday afternoon, a bubble bath, a foot spa, toenails painted, a bottle of fizz, a box of chalks, and the shoes. I unwrapped them, carefully held them, stroked them, and putting my nose as near as possible, I took a deep breath and inhaled the smell of new leather. Blimey, look at me. Anyone would think I was a foot fetish. I unbuckled the shoes and I stood them on the floor, ready with the toes poised. I had an idea, so I searched through the cabinets until I found the cream-coloured lace hand-embroidered doily that an ancient aunt had made. I placed the doily on the coffee table, stood the shoes on top of it, and ignoring the saying that putting new shoes on a table is bad luck, I went and searched for my camera. After taking half a dozen snaps of the shoes, I sat down and slipped them on. To be honest, I didn't actually slip them on. Getting the shoes past the lumps and bumps and plasters on my feet was difficult, but following a lot of huffing and puffing, they were finally in place. I hobbled to the table and placed the doily on the floor, stood on it, and photographed my feet. 20 minutes later, I went upstairs and I stood in front of the full-length mirror, carefully avoiding seeing my face and chest. I bowed my head and stared at my feet. The shoes were beyond gorgeous. But my feet were all wrong. So were my calves and knees. I plucked up the nerve to let my eyes drift upwards. My reflection was disgusting, awful. I studied my body for the first time in 3 years since the accident. I was shocked by what I saw. I put on weight, lost interest in my appearance. My clothes were old-fashioned and dowdy, and my hair was long and lank. I was a slouch. My whole body drooped and sagged, and I looked old. I felt sorry for the shoes. You deserve to be worn by someone better than me, someone who walks upright, someone like Susie. Dr. Blake had said that I could walk tall if I tried hard enough. He said I should confront the pain in my feet and legs, fight it, and beat it. The team at the hospital had said something similar too, but I'd been too lazy to help myself and I couldn't be bothered to do the exercises. I caused the car crash. No one was injured, apart from me and my pride. The crash didn't make me an invalid, but I'd been behaving like one. Unless I did something about it. I knew I would never be able to put on these shoes or any smart shoes, walk down the street and wear them to the clinic. I took the shoes off, hugged them, and then threw them into the bin. No. I refused to give them up. Never. 6 months later, this woman enters the clinic. She'd lost weight. She wore a black designer trouser suit, and her makeup was immaculate, as was her hair. As Susie ticked off the name in the book, she noticed the red leather medium high heel shoes. "Welcome to your first day," said Susie. "I think you will fit in here very well."
was great. I really enjoyed that.
It was brilliant.
Thank you. And you can unmute yourselves now, everyone. So.
Oh, brilliant. So well acted. Thank you. I really enjoyed that very much.
So
it's a short time, Mary, to do that, and it was beautifully done.
Yeah.
I had a slight panic because I had I had the script up on my laptop, and then I couldn't. It wouldn't scroll down to the next page. So
I know.
I grabbed my paper copy, and I was going. Oh.
No, you were really smooth, honestly, really smooth.
Oh,
You wouldn't have known. No, honestly, that was great, considering you only came on board last.
You modernists.
Sorry?
The play.
No, I always have. That's why I always have the hard copy as the backup. Yeah.
So I don't know whether people have feedback, but I mean, for me, particularly because I'm a shoe lover, I was in a total emotional journey in that. So I mean, it took you sort of up and then down, and I completely got all the lust for those shoes, and I love the word lust. I thought that was great, Doreen. So has anybody else got any feedback on that for either of the ladies? So
you were wonderful, Mary, doing that.
I'd like to know where Doreen got the idea from.
Unmute yourself, Julie.
Pardon?
Unmute yourself, Julie.
Yeah, I can't. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. I wanted to know where Doreen got the idea from. Doreen, yes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I can't wear high heels, but I'd like to. That's basically it.
Oh, and that's what made you think. Yeah, I know, it was beautifully done. All the
It's
feeling,
sweet,
the
isn't it?
emotions. It was very good. It was very good. Julie had a question. Had something she wanted to say as well. Do you want to unmute yourself, or shall I do it for you, Julie? So there you go. Oh no, I think you need to.
Who wrote that piece?
It was Doreen.
Oh, brilliant, Doreen.
Yeah.
Really? Well done. And well done too, Mary. Really read it very well.
Wasn't it? It was. I thought to myself, well, did I write that? I don't remember writing. It
My
makes
good actress, and can make all the difference, and it may, it's a different voice to yours. I know it was lovely.
So much expression in it.
Expression, yes.
Yeah, it was. It was very good. Has
Thank you.
anybody else got any feedback? What about you, Terry? You look like a shoe man to me. So.
No, I've worn high heels once in Panto.
Never again.
They were red. They were red.
Ah.
No, Doreen, brilliant writing as usual, and Mary, well done. It was really good.
Thank you.
No, it was great. It was really good. Right. Well, thank you. And shall we move on to the next one then? So, do you want to put your microphones back onto mute for me, please? And that's great. Thank you. So we're going on to Bravery, which is written and read by Benita Cullingford. So Benita's written 3 books, and her radio play Pickup's been broadcast in New York. Her short film Smile Baby Smile was produced in 2013. And Benita is our treasurer, and she's a very brave woman because I don't think anyone else wants to do the numbers. So we're very grateful to have her. So I'm just going to move my gallery along so I can, there's Benita there. So I'm going to unmute you, Benita, ready for you to perform because she's going to read it for us. So can you turn your microphone on, Benita, please? Let me try and do it. Can you do it? It's at the bottom of your screen, at the bottom left-hand side, and then it's a microphone with a red line through it, Benita. So if you just click on that. Oh, no, you're still muted. Benita, I still can't hear you. Can you just click on that microphone again, please? That's it. Yeah, that's better. Thank you.
Should be on now.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. I don't know why I'm so dark. I don't know how to make...
Oh, you're all right. We can see you fine.
You see me at all?
Yes, yeah, we can see you.
Right. Well, first of all, my monologue is called Bravery. I think you were talking about another one of Doreen's monologues.
No, I said bravery. Yeah, but yes. Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Anyway, my monologue is called Bravery. I'm waiting for them. They're coming to get me in about 10 minutes. Before they arrive, I want to tell you about my sister Jo. Jo was my only sister, and you'd really think I'd know all about her, wouldn't you? And the same parents, same upbringing, what's not to know? But I didn't know her very well at all. Jo was 12 years older than me, and by the time I was 10, she had left home, married, and was living in France. Add to that the intervention of World War II, and perhaps there was some justification. I was 17 when the war ended. The war years are something I try not to dwell on. Us in bombed out London, and Jo married to Henri, and Henri shot in the French resistance. Yes, Jo lost her young husband in 1942, and she never remarried. After the war, though, instead of returning home to London, she left Paris and chose to live alone in Plymouth. Crazy! There seemed to be no sense to it. She rented a large house on the coast, took in lodgers, mostly ex-servicemen, and kept herself going financially and intellectually, tutoring private pupils. Oh, no doubt about it. Jo was the brains of the family. She got a first in linguistics at London University. Me, of course, I'm the one with the leftovers, all clutter, chatter, and no brain. Nevertheless, I did bag myself a handsome guitarist for a husband. Older than me and a heavy smoker, he died in his early 60s. I was widowed at 50 with a teenage son. Jacob's still a loving son, even though he does live in New Zealand. He met Thurber on his gap year, and well, there are more prospects for surfing instructors out there. Even so, Jo must have had some spare time. Christmas cards, small birthday gifts, and the occasional phone call is not much from an older sister in 40 years. Jo could have come up to Kingston to see me and Mum, especially when we moved there after Dad died. And she only stayed one night for Mum's funeral 2 years later. After that, it was only brief visits, on her way to university or some such. I'm telling you all this so that you'll understand how surprised and shocked I was to get Jo's letter. Then, 2 weeks later, she turns up. It was 1986. She was 63 and I was 53. No, she was 65 and I was 53. Coming to stay, she was, to live with me indefinitely. I was on my own for the first time. Jacob had just gone off to New Zealand, and I still had my job at the British Museum, which was good of them, really, considering the trouble they'd had with me over the years. Nothing I could specifically put my finger on, just bad luck. It became a bit of a joke. Give Dizzy, my real name is Isabella, give Dizzy a job and see how long she'll keep it. Wash her up in the canteen came first. Not my fault. Mother never insisted on me doing any housework. I got my sensitive skin and rubber allergy from her, and who can help that? I could go on. I got spiked in the foot on car park duty by an elderly woman, though I was praised for volunteering during a pensioners' strike. Still, I did get promoted once to reception, then blew it. Apparently, I was too friendly with the public. Oh well, packaging department at the museum wanted someone to sort fossils. Sorry, where was I? Oh, Jo. Told her I couldn't understand why she wanted to stay with me. Apart from being sisters, we had nothing in common. I was untidy, too friendly and frivolous. And my chattering got on her nerves. Why, I asked her, had she suddenly decided to come out of the blue, so to speak? She made an excuse about having just retired and wanting to get to know me better, and bizarrely would explain after some important event she had to attend the following Saturday. I must say, I got quite excited when she wanted me to dress up and go with her. One thing I am sorry about, Jo not being here with me now. She died 5 years later, aged 70. Those last years spent in the Kensington flat with her were, how shall I put it, companionable. Yes, that's it. The shock, you see, of finding out what she had been doing for most of her life rendered me completely speechless. I'm not kidding. Couldn't physically say a word for 3 days. And the important event that we went to, well, it turned out to be a wow, plus a very prestigious ceremony at Kensington Palace, no less, where my sister Jo was presented with a medal, the George Medal. No wonder she'd been so secretive. She couldn't tell us about it before, of course. She took over from her husband in the French resistance, and after the war, she had been spying for the British government. When my voice came back, I was less gregarious. That helped Jo. Gave her more time to talk to me. I hadn't realised before, I never paused much. The words just poured out and she never had a chance. Jo had a very odd way of speaking. I've not mentioned that, have I? Very posh, in kind of short sentences, and often only one word. Oh, maybe, not much, no, da, di-da, di-da, da. That's what being a linguist does for you. It ruins your language. Anyway, where did I get? Oh, Jo, not being here to be proud of me. Oh, I think they've arrived. Oh, I've got my hat on. That's why I'm all spruced up. Got to look my best for an important date, because it's now my turn to receive an honour. Dizzy Isabella. Bravery in the face of danger. I rescued a dog from a pond, and I can't even swim, never have done. The round pond in Kensington was frozen at the time, but not only that, the dog was a very special pet, a corgi, a royal corgi.
That was great. Do you want to put your microphones back on? as well.
Mm.
Yeah, that was funny. I didn't never saw that ending coming.
Wondered why she had a hat on.
Yeah, that was great. So has anyone got any feedback for Benita? Because obviously not only was she the performer, but the writer as well. So just like Martin was. So yeah.
I enjoyed it. I
Wasn't
thought
part of your biography, was it?
No.
Sport.
You remember that, Martin? I originally wrote it as a half-hour play for 4 characters, and then I changed it into a monologue.
It's changed a lot.
So why
Sorry?
did you change it so much, Benita? What drove you to change it into a monologue?
I can't remember what the
More interesting now than before. Much.
You mean it's better now?
Yes. Much.
I think I had probably had a bit too much in it before. Yeah, when it was a play. I don't know. I just suddenly thought it might just work as a monologue.
No, it's
It
good.
develops, doesn't it?
Can
I ask something?
Anne wants to say
Yeah.
something. Yeah, go.
Benita, when it was a play, who were the characters?
Well, Isabella and her sister.
Yes.
Her sister lived in a flat in London, and then she suddenly heard that this, her strange sister she hadn't really known for 40 years was going to come and stay.
Yes.
But she'd already, and the sister had come and beforehand, and there was a neighbour downstairs who was expecting a baby, and they made friends. And it was during the IRA, and suddenly the flats, they all get bombed out. And then, of course, Jo is very, very brave, and she's the only one who doesn't leave the flats. The little sort of cute clues.
It was much more complicated.
It did get a bit complicated, didn't it, Martin? Yes. Yes.
Well, it certainly worked as a monologue, I think.
I mean, I've loved all these 3 things because each of them has, you get carried along in a complete story in a very short space of time. I think it's amazing how much you guys managed to fit into a small space of time. That's what's impressing me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. They've all been very compelling, actually, and sort of pull you in very quickly, very quickly. So great. Does anybody else want to say anything, or should we move on to the next one? So, right, well, let's move. Sorry.
Really lovely.
Yeah.
It was a really lovely piece. Well done doing that.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I like the relationship between the 2 sisters.
I didn't really want to follow professional actors, but still.
Oh, I think you did very well. No, that was great, Benita. Thank you. Right, well, everybody mute themselves and we'll move on to the last piece. So this is Jane's Cup, and it's read by Terry Perkins, and it's written by Doreen. So Terry Perkins works regularly with AWL and was recently seen in the award-winning TV production, The Informer. So where you go, Terry. I'll mute myself.
This cup has won an award. It might not look very special to the untrained eye, but believe me, the teacup has been hailed as a design masterpiece. I picked up the design award, brought it home, and locked it inside a very strong box. The actual award isn't worth a fortune, but I need to keep it in a safe place. I like to have the cup where I can see it. Keeping it close gives me comfort. Holding the cup reminds me of Jane. When taking the piece of clay in my hands, touching it gives me a buzz. I love how smooth it is and enjoy feeling its warmth. It's as soft as silk. It feels as moist as a body, as alive and as pliable as skin. I enjoyed working with it with my fingers, playing with it, rolling it, caressing it and shaping it into fantastic objects. I got some pleasure pushing at it, squashing, holding it, smelling it, kneading it, and imagining it under the damp muslin cloth, waiting to be completed. I hadn't been employed by the company for long, just a matter of months. I was doing well, and my line manager suggested I submit an entry for the design award. I'm not an artist, but I enjoy creating images, so I decided to give it a go. Anyway, I thought, how hard would it be to design a teacup? I worked on my design, but my dream of making a cup that was the wow factor didn't happen. It was hindered by my lack of experience and the rigid constraints of the competition, which didn't give me the chance of producing something revolutionary. I had something quirky in mind, but sticking to the rules meant curbing my imagination. I massaged the clay, manipulated it and maneuvered it, but I wasn't able to coax it into anything like the shape I wanted. The clay, so soft and supple, refused to be modelled into my design. My fingers reluctantly followed the criteria my boss had set to create a unique teacup by following what I thought was a boring pattern. I didn't want to spend my time, my valuable time in the factory, producing an object I didn't care for or wanted. Why should I? My teacup was so much better, prettier, more artistic, delicate, fragile than that monstrosity that Jane was working on. Jane's design was complicated, convoluted and corrugated. Nobody would want to sip from a corrugated cup. A cup with fancy fluted edges might look very pretty, but it isn't practical and not easy to drink from. Look at it. Jane's cup is so out of shape that the liquid dribbles out between the grooves and down onto the drinker's chin, neck and collar. I knew that my design was the best. It was different, unique, and extremely interesting. I picked up the award, Best Most European Innovative Teacup Design. I'm sure Jane would have been delighted had she won. Unfortunately, Jane had left the company some time before and missed the ceremony. I keep mine and Jane's cup with me at all times. The award is locked in the safe. Jane has moved away. It took me less than a minute to switch the labels on the cup.
Excellent. Oh. Do you want to put your microphones back on again?
Doreen, you like putting things away in boxes, don't you?
Yeah, that's true.
I'd like to come in round your house.
Yeah.
Thanks, Doreen. That was great.
Can I say
Well
something?
done, Terry.
Well done, Terry.
Yeah, well done, Terry.
Well done, Doreen.
Can I say
Oh,
something?
yeah, Mary's got
Yeah.
some feedback. Yeah.
Those the fluted cups, my mother had some after the war, when you could only have white china for a time, because that had been a regulation during the war, no colours. She got these beautiful white china, very fine bone china, and they were fluted. And you're quite right, you couldn't drink out of them. A little space, and it dripped over on the side or the other side. So I don't know if Doreen, you know about fluted cups, do you?
Yes, but the cup actually.
And have you tried drinking out of one?
Yeah. But the thing is, Jane, when Jane Corrie invited me to the launch of her book some time ago, she had a cup in her hand, and one of the people there said something. She said, "That's my special cup." in mind to do a special cup.
Ah, so that's where it came from. So it's Jane Corrie inspired. Yeah, we had Jane for one of our interviews because we're doing author interviews as well, and she was on a couple of weeks back, wasn't she? So
Doreen, my grandmother always had one china cup that was hers.
Yeah.
Everybody else drank out of whatever, but my grandmother had just this one. She always had to have a china cup to drink tea out of. And you know, I'm the same. When we were saying about mugs, I can't bear tea out of a mug. It has to be a china cup. But more interestingly, I've still got my grandmother's china cup, the last one she had when she died, and I've still got it.
Anytime it suits you, I'm sure that'll be fine, yeah.
Oh, somebody on the phone.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we've got a phone call going on there.
That's fine, yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing how important a cup and a pair of shoes can be.
Yes. Who would have known?
It's made to be interesting.
So has anyone got any more feedback for either Doreen or Terry on that?
Well, it's not feedback, but I would like to ask Anne if she's in France at the moment.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, hello. Anne lives in a place near where one of my cousins lives in France.
Where?
Where are you, Anne?
Introduced me to Mary, who introduced me to Martin, and who got me into this society, yes.
And Anne, you live near my cousin Joan, don't you?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Down in Aimée, down in the Dordogne.
Oh,
Yeah,
lovely.
I'm about half an hour from Aimée, yes.
Yes. Right.
I live in another Bastide called Villarreal.
Yeah.
I could do with a bit of France at the moment. I don't think it's going to happen.
Packed out with tourists at the moment.
Is there?
Yeah. Not respecting their social distances.
Yes, there's not a lot of that going on here at the moment either. And it's not so sunny either. So, right, well, thank you, everybody. I mean, this is the first one we've done. So does anybody have any feedback on the sort of format? Because obviously it's a bit different from the normal workshops that you'd have. So we weren't quite sure how this would work and how to do the format. Benita, have you got something? We just need to unmute you, Benita. We can't hear you at the moment. So could you just press?
The only real difference is that we allow the audience to criticise and to encourage the authors when we do a workshop. And I'm afraid I have to address.
Rebecca?
Try and progress whatever the writing is.
Yeah, and so we can do a bit more on that next time then.
Rebecca?
Yeah.
I wonder whether, it's a technical thing, whether when there is a monologue, that screen could be bigger or we could not be there, so that we're just concentrating, because it's not so easy to concentrate on a small picture when other people and somebody gets up, or something like that. Is it possible to do that?
You can do that, Mary, because at the top right-hand corner of your screen, there's a setting which says speaker view. Yeah, and then you just see who's speaking, and then you get the whole screen filled. So that's how you do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's all you need to do. Yes, Pam?
I'll do that next time.
Rebecca, that's what I was going to say. Couldn't the actors sort of fill the screen? Because it's
that's what Rebecca's just said.
Yes.
I know, but what are you talking about? How about, does everybody see just all of us, or do they see just one person?
You can choose. You have an option to choose. If you click on the top right-hand corner of your screen, you have the time that the session's been lasting, and then next to it, it says speaker view. And you can switch between having everybody's picture or just the person that's talking. So it's just right at the top.
Time so that if someone is talking, you will get their face on the screen.
Yeah.
Hi, sorry, can I just suggest something? You can actually pin a video as well. If you click on those three dots, it gives you the option to pin the person's video who's speaking.
Yeah.
If it's just one person.
That's really helpful, thank you.
Yeah. Very good.
I'll try
I
that
don't know if
next
it's
time.
my computer,
I'll have a look at that.
but I'm getting a little bit of background noise.
Yeah, that's the problem with having a lot of people with their microphones on. I think I'm not quite sure where it's coming from.
No, I don't mean background. I mean in the speech, it's sort of crackling.
Yeah, I can hear it as well.
There's an echo.
Can I say one thing? Terry, did you had you been playing around with the effects to get the background? Yeah.
Yes, it's called a virtual background.
I like
this
that.
is that's the real wall
That's
behind
the real
me.
one. I like that. I think everyone should be encouraged to do that because it just adds to the monologue.
It's more difficult to do on a PC. I'm using I'm using my phone at the moment, but I can use my iPad.
Yes.
And it's easier to do.
Right. It's brilliant.
Not every device will allow that.
Yeah.
No.
Mine doesn't work.
But otherwise, what Martin did, put something behind you. I think just a little bit of a seasoning would be good.
That was my set. Flags, that's all. I just altered it. And Terry's in the kitchen, and that's his background is different. Now we can see my kitchen behind him.
Kitchen wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
the green's good. It's a green screen, isn't it? That's why it works.
Yeah.
I thought that was, and I think that's really important as a viewer, as an audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just adds to it, doesn't it?
It really did. It really did. So,
Mary, you remind me of Maclean Peak.
I don't know what that noise is.
It's Mary here. Mary.
Yeah.
You reminded me, Mary Drake.
Right.
You reminded
Mary Drake, yeah.
Maclean Peak.
Sorry.
You very much remind me of Maxine Peake.
Oh.
Yeah. And the way you act as well,
We don't normally let her know that.
Do you agree with me, Martin? I think she's the image. I'm just.
See, I looked at Terry and I thought he was a slightly elongated version of Daniel Craig, actually.
Oh, yes.
I bet you've had that before, haven't you?
Yeah.
I had the same thoughts.
Yes. He's quite used to that.
We should just take a screenshot and say Daniel Craig joined us for the drama. No one would know.
I wish I had his money.
Yeah.
You do, yeah.
It's a smile. It's your smile, Terry.
I'm being called to tea now.
Oh, how lucky.
That goes for you as well.
Right, yeah. For the quiz, are you all going to be coming?
Yes.
Good.
Well, we've got a couple of, there's a quiz tonight, but we've also got a couple of other events coming up. So in September, if anyone's interested, I'm going to be interviewing Earl Spencer, Prince Harry and Prince William's uncle, Diana's brother. So he's got a book coming out. So I'll be talking to him. And also we've got, and this one might be particularly interesting to you, is Ian Martin, the BAFTA winner, who wrote Death of Stalin. And someone's giggling with Terry. He keeps looking up. I can hear it really loudly in my ear. So, and he wrote Death of Stalin and The Thick of It. So he's just coming on for an interview as well in October, if people are interested in that. Because I'm quite, we're going to have to put a language warning on it because he's quite lively in the way he talks. But I think he's going to be really good. So, and we're also going to do another drama session at the beginning of September if people are interested in taking part. So
we've got Sita as well.
Oh yes. We've got another author, Zita, who's a children's author. So we've got an interview with her as well. So if you're interested, keep a look on our Facebook page because that's where Viv puts all the events on there for us, so you can see what's coming up next. And sign up.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, Martin.
Bye, Martin.
Bye.
So, and the next session will be on the 1st of September. So we'll hopefully see you all then, but get in touch with Doreen if you want to take part and look out for the Zoom. All right, well, thank you ever so much, everyone. It's been lovely to see you all, and thank you so
very
much for your
much.
efforts.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Great.
Lovely to see
Thank you
everyone.
for letting me participate. It's great. It's online. I can be there.
Yeah.
It's great.
Say
isn't
hello
it?
to Jen for me.
Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Mary.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.